HBO is reportedly turning George R.R. Martin's worst book into a Game of Thrones spin-off, or so says The Verge. Hello guys, my name is Carmine, and it's been a while, and for those of you wondering where I've been, I'll leave a pinned comment below if you're curious, or feel free to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you have to stay up to date with me. Links are below in the description. So, on the heels of the series finale, we got news that the prequels were already underway, and one of them focuses on the White Walker origins, and now we're getting news that HBO is currently looking at another Game of Thrones spin-off prequel, this time focusing on George's newly released book, Fire and Blood, which focuses on the Targaryen lineage and history. Now, I don't agree that Fire and Blood is George's worst book, and I'll even say that I don't think George has a worse book in the Song of Ice and Fire series. If I had to say, my least favorite would probably be Feast for Crows, but that's only because we go from an insane book like Storm of Swords to something very mellow and just a little off like Feast. But that being said, according to Deadline, HBO is close to ordering a pilot for the Fire and Blood prequel series with George behind it, as well as writer Ryan Condal, who is known for writing the television series The Colony, as well as the films Hercules and Rampage, both of which star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, the fact that we might be getting two prequel series within a short amount of time is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because maybe HBO has no confidence in the current Bloodmoon prequel, especially if they're looking at another Thrones-related project so soon, then this could mean that Bloodmoon did not impress enough to really go forward with a full season order. Apparently, they did finish a pilot for it and are waiting to see if it'll be picked up as a full series. No word on that yet, but it could mean that HBO saw what was given and are deciding not to pursue it beyond a first season or even a first episode. It could just end up as a miniseries, but we'll just have to see. Not to mention that a lot of people were not too keen on the final season of Thrones, on top of the fact that the White Walkers were kinda ruined by that final season. Why would fans come back and watch the beginnings of something when they were so unsatisfied with the ending of it? And I really can't fault HBO too much for ordering this Bloodmoon prequel when they did, because the prequels were penned back in like 2017 before work on season 8 really began, and I doubt HBO knew how people would react to the whole thing, let alone the White Walkers being utterly ruined. And what I do like is that Fire and Blood has an actual layout that can be followed, and it seems like a safer bet for them to do it, considering seasons 1 through 4 were some of the best pieces of television ever made. The other bad thing is that this could cause franchise fatigue. You don't want too much of something so quickly. In the Deadline article, one of the higher-ups with the company said that they have to be really thoughtful about not killing the golden goose and not putting on shows that aren't up to that quality level, and how many is too many. And I gotta agree, as much as I would love HBO to dedicate a good chunk of their programming that focuses on hot naked blondes and dragons, I still want quality over quantity. But the good news is that they're finally doing some of the most interesting stuff in the Game of Thrones universe. The writer over at The Verge thought Fire and Blood was boring, and I can understand why they would think that. It's really not for everyone, and it can be a very dry and lethargic read, but that's exactly why it would make for a good show. It's a history book, and as such, that would allow the writers to pinpoint major events, follow them, but also give them the freedom to do actual storytelling. For example, with Game of Thrones, you have to write Arya consistently as the book's presenter with a certain tone that George intended, and as such, the writers don't have much freedom with her character, which caused major issues when they ran out of book material and had to imagine what the character's natural progression would have looked like later on. As such, her character felt disjointed and off during the last 2 seasons. This time, however, they have George's outline there to guide them, but they can choose how to proceed with the story, as long as it hits the major historical beats already written down. But overall, I am excited that we're actually getting Fire and Blood. I think that it should have been the prequel from the beginning. The Targaryens have always been the center of the story in the series, and they really should have led with that. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, the White Walkers were never really that interesting to me. I was more into the political struggles, the backstabbing, and the scheming, and the Walkers have nothing to do with any of that. So if I had my way, I would have had them do like an anthology series where every chapter of the Fire and Blood book is a different season, kind of like American Horror Story. And the only problem here is that Fire and Blood is incomplete. The one released last year is the first volume, and George needs to complete volume 2, and maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but I think they could do Fire and Blood for several years with enough material while George finishes the finer details of volume 2. Because the Targaryen history is largely completed, it's just volume 2 needs to have the finer details that volume 1 had, just to fill some of the stuff out. But like I said, we'll just have to see. But guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, if you're interested in Fire and Blood, Press and I are doing a chapter-by-chapter analysis of it on the Thrones podcast. We're finishing up the Season 8 final review for the podcast, and then we'll be switching on over to the book again very soon. And once again, I do apologize for my long time off. I will explain everything in the pinned comment below for those of you who are wondering. And by the way, I've been getting this question a lot. Yes, I do have a Discord server that is available for some patrons, so definitely check that out over at patreon.com/redteamreview. If you're on there already, then please hit me up on Discord. I do go out on my way to chat with everyone individually, so if you are a patron, then see if you have access to it and hit me up. But guys, once again, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.